Howdy everyone, welcome to this MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. I am Bess McCarty, coach for network marketers and for business and life, also called the shrink of MLM. And Jeffrey David Gamble and I bring you this MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Monday through Friday, every weekday, right here on one of our pages at noon Eastern Time. So today the topic is John Maxwell's leadership law number 6, the law of solid ground, and that means trust, because the trust in a leader really equals their influence. So very important. Let's see, I thought I had my notes ready here. There we go. So John Maxwell calls this the law of the solid ground. Trust is a foundation for a leader, and it's the most important asset. It's the glue that holds everything together. So going to be covering that. Just a little intro is that, hello, David Roeder, how are you? And David is a wonderful network marketer and loves personal growth, is very serious about his business and personal growth. You might want to follow David, and welcome Annie. So glad to see you. And Ty Hansen, welcome. California, David's in California. I'm in California right now too. So would love to hear where you're from. Love if you type that in. Annie's from Austin, right, Annie? And Ty, where are you from? So I'd love to hear that. And if, of course, you're watching the replay, I'd love if you type in replay, because I want to thank you for watching. So David, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for the likes and loves. And thank you for doing your personal growth work. Thank you for helping people in network marketing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for making the world a better place. So that's what this is about. It's the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show, but it applies to all entrepreneurs as well. And what we do is we cover one of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership by John Maxwell every weekday here. This is a book, a wonderful book. It's actually the #1 leadership expert. Leadership expert is what John Maxwell's called, and his book is the leading, most sold book on leadership in the world, the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So if you all would like a free e-copy of that, a copy of that ebook, just go over to our Facebook group, the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group, and you can join there and get a free copy of that e-copy of that book. And you can scroll down and find all the replays. You can find 500 other serious network marketing leaders there. So it's the best leadership site that I know in network marketing. So you're welcome to be part of it. Join in the discussion there. Post cool things about leadership to inspire other people. So I'm just going to invite some people here. I do have a text group that I invited people earlier. If you'd like to be part of that, please let me know, and I will add you to the text group. Just Facebook message me that you would like that and can add you. So right now I'm inviting Jerry and some other people. By the way, while I'm doing this, I could let you know, I think I can do 2 things at once. Our purpose is to help people grow, to educate, equip, and empower entrepreneurs, and create independent servant leaders, and give back to this profession, because we've gotten so much from it over the decades, Jeff and I, and we want to give. And we thank you all for all that you do in network marketing. I do not know a better vehicle for people to have a better life than network marketing. Look at all the advantages. Has the best return on investment of any business in the world. It has low startup, train as you work at your own pace. It has unlimited ceiling. It's not like a corporate where there's so many people at the top and you have to fight for that position, and so it's very competitive and cutthroat. In network marketing, it's the opposite. It's a win-win-win, and everyone helps each other. The more we help each other, the more successful each person is. So what a better business. Not perfect, as we know, because nothing is, but it's still the best option that I know for people to have a better life. And there's unlimited ceiling in income. There's not you can only go so far and that's it. And there's no student loan to pay off. So many advantages. You don't have to do the creating the product, hiring the lawyer, setting up the business. It's all done for you. All you have to do is be a rep for it and a trainer, a rep to sell the product and a rep to train other people to do the same thing. Okay, so that's enough inviting here. Okay, so the law of solid ground is about trust. And when there's no trust, there is no influence. So what a good leader consistently demonstrates competence, connection, and character. Think about who you trust and why do you trust them? Is it because they do good things consistently over a long period of time? It does take time to build trust, doesn't it? Because anybody can do good things for a little while, but what do they do over the long run? And what is their history? Do they keep demonstrating that good character? Tell you a little story here. You might remember, who remembers the movie The Titanic? Do you remember that was a 1997 movie, but it held like the number one grossing a film for 14 years. It was the number one. So it was really, really made an impact on a lot of people. A lot of people saw it even several times. So do you remember the scene where, the most famous scene probably is when they're on the bow of the ship and Jack says, hold on, close your eyes and hold on. Do you trust me? And Rose, even though she's only known Jack for a few days, they had that instant trust. And she said, I trust you. And so when she at last opens her eyes, she feels like she's flying. Her arms are outstretched. She's at the bow of the ship propelling her forward, and she's flying forward into the wind. Wonderful feeling. And they kiss and, have a love story. But this trust, in their case, it happened instantly, but they knew. And I think it depends on love. When you feel like a person loves you or cares about you or has your best interest at first, then I think that generates trust, doesn't it? So some people on the Titanic, they're getting on the lifeboats, and I think there's one guy that kicks a little kid off. And so we go, oh, that's a bad guy. You can't trust him because he's just thinking of himself. He's just being selfish. And I think for me, that's what trust boils down to. The people that I trust think of the good of the whole or put other people's good before them rather than their own. Is this person a good friend until it's a choice between your good or their good, and then they kick you under the bus? And this has happened to people that I know in business where that person was just nice to them as long as it benefited them. But when it no longer did, then they were let go of. And this happens all the time in businesses, doesn't it? The business has to, keep their bottom line ahead, keeps their bottom line ahead of the care for other people. And so we see this in corporate a lot, right? They're going to be nice to you or use you as long as you benefit them. And then when it doesn't anymore, then you're out. And that's why a lot of people over the last few years, research has shown and polls have shown that people trust the government less. They trust media less, that it's going to be it can be altered to what the powers that be want to be put out. They trust businesses less. But hello, Marty. Welcome, and welcome, Kevin. If you are here to learn to be a better leader in your life and in your business, please type yes, because I want to thank you for that. Thank you, Marty. I got that like there. Thank you very much. And would like to hear if you would like to develop more trust in the people around you, perhaps in your network marketing team, if you're working on developing that trust. So we talked about, the people that I trust put the good of the other people or service to the good of the whole, which includes the good of the person, but does not exclude other people. In other words, is it going to be, do I have selfish motives or do I have service and focus on the good of the whole motives? So Fred, welcome, Fred. Fred says yes. David Roeder says yes. Awesome. That's a commitment. So you just made a public commitment to be a better leader. Awesome. And to develop more trust with people around you. And how do you develop that trust? You be a good person consistently over a long period of time. And the more that you know somebody, the more trust that is. I was just visiting with some people that grew up with my son, who's now 36, here in San Diego. And we were homeschoolers. These are groups of family that we have known for 30 years. And we've raised our kids together. We've stayed in touch. We've become like family. And they have always consistently demonstrated genuine love and service and care. These people I trust for 30 years. And very, very deep, wonderful friends. So for me, it's the longevity and the observing of the behavior. What does that person do over time? And the common values and all that. What is it for you? I'd love to hear your comment. What generates trust for you in a person? Who do you trust, and why do you trust them? I'd really love to hear you say that below, because this is almost like a little survey that I'm taking right now. I want to learn from you. What generates trust for you? And then second, how can you generate trust for other people? So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit now. 68% of U.S. adults say their trust in a brand influences their decisions to make a big purchase. And I think that happens in network marketing as well. Starting a business is a big decision. And it said that, in one research anyway, says that the number one reason people didn't join a network marketing business is they didn't like the person. Or I'll rephrase another way for the sake of this law, they didn't trust the person. That they were going to be a good leader, that they were going to be there, that they were going to teach them how to do this business, that they were going to help them to get their starter money back, their investment money back, or to reach their goals, or really, why are they joining? That this person was going to help them get there. So when you have confidence in that person, in their past experience, in their track record, they've done it, and they can help me to do it. Like Jeff and I, who teach this class, we've both been full-time network marketers. We know what it takes. At this point, I'm a dedicated coach for network marketers. This is my calling. I'm not going to divide my attention by being in a company. I help network marketers get unstuck in their beliefs and their fears, and to break through for them. So it's personal growth for me. Mindset is my calling, and that's what I'm doing. But I know what it takes. And Jeff is currently in the field, and so he brings that valuable current experience forward. So David Rhoda writes, people who do what they say, of course, they do what they say. And when I do what I say, mean what I say, and say what I mean. So when I do what I say, mean what I say, and say what I mean. I think that almost paraphrases Dr. Seuss, right, David? Welcome, James. How are you? A lot of these people on here are students in our school, the MLM Millionaire Academy. We just had a class last night, and we covered presentation. Present daily was the core number 5 of the 10 core commitments. So we talked about what it takes to present daily and ideas, and how to troubleshoot the fear of rejection that most network marketers have, how to overcome that. That's what we covered in our class last night. So a lot of you saw that. The replay will be out soon. If you'd like more information about our classes, I will post a link below, but you can find it at mlmmillionaireclub.com/basics. mlmmillionaireclub.com/basics is our beginning basics class, foundational class for the 10 core commitments in network marketing. And this goes into that. If you're going to present, it's the same thing. If you're going to recruit people, it's the same thing. They want to be able to trust you. They want to be able to have confidence in the product, but how can they have that before they have the experience? First, they got to trust you. So you can tell your story and experience with it. You can tell other people's story. You can tell about the company and the integrity of the company, the reputation, and the trustworthiness that they can have in that company, that they do have their best interest at heart. They do quality production, growing of the herbs or producing it, and that they really care about people, or they give back and they do charities. So that is when you want to buy from that company, don't you? When you trust the reputation of that company or the distributor or both. So it really matters. And the way to get that is develop a rapport, a connection with people. How do you connect with them? You listen to them, you edify them, you can compliment. Let's see. A few quotes for you about that. But let me talk first about trust, how to gain trust. And welcome, Sean White. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. Thank you for saying hi, because otherwise I might not know you're on the thread here. And if you're getting value so far, I'd love to hear a takeaway that you're getting, or something that kind of rings true for you. But here are some tips about how to gain trust. As David just said, be true to your word and follow through with your actions. So do what you say, or otherwise, what good is your word going to be? Do you want people to trust you in your word, or do you want them to say, oh, well, Bess just says that, or John just says that, but, he never does it. Would you like that kind of reputation? That feels bad, doesn't it? Right? So, number 1, be true to your word and follow through with actions. Number 2, learn how to communicate effectively with others. That means truly listen mostly and respond to what their needs are. Number 3, remind ourselves that this takes time, so we don't immediately demand that somebody recognize that I'm a reputable person. Why won't they join my network marketing company? Can't they see I'm an honest person? No, it takes time. It takes time to know you, like, and trust you. Number 4, think before we act too quickly and make decisions. Nobody wants a loose cannon. Nobody wants to be friends with or do business with or buy from or get trained by somebody who's a loose cannon and just thinks, acts impulsively without consideration. Yes, you can make decisions quickly, but not too quickly, not too impulsively, to where it can cost somebody. So, number 5, don't take relationships for granted. In other words, be grateful. Thank people for what they mean to you in your life. Thank people for what they do. Recognize their accomplishments and their actions. Number 6, develop your team's skills and participate openly with them. Number 7, be honest. That makes sense. Number 8, help when you can. Number 9, in other words, volunteer in the community is very, very good. That shows you have a community spirit, a service heart, when you can, but don't do that at the expense of your family or paying your bills or anything. Some people are kind of addicted to that. So, when you can, without being a cost to you or your family. Number 9, don't hide your feelings. People like transparency, and you may have heard that when we speak about our failures, it actually draws and attracts people more, and they trust you more than when you just talk about your successes, because then they get to see your humanness and they think, okay, it's okay for me to be human as well, right? I can confide in this person, I can follow this person, they're going to be real, they're talking about their humannesses, they're not setting themselves above me or superior to me. They're talking about their failures and how they overcame them. And I'm attracted to that because I am human too, and I have some of the same questions. How can I overcome this or that? Procrastination or low self-esteem are things that we work for. And Fred says, trust honesty and be honest. Right. How would you define honesty? Being not telling lies. How would you define that, Fred? Or an example of honesty? How has that showed up in your life? I'd love to hear. So, number 10, don't always self-promote. In fact, a leader points to the team more than themselves. And they say, the team did this, right? More than I did this, or I led the team. The team did this. I owe this all to my team. Number 11, always do what you believe is right. And number 12, admit mistakes. Because people can see them anyway, you guys. And then also say, how can I make this right? How can I make this right? I was visiting a friend the other day, broke an expensive glass that they had from Japan. And so we're searching on the internet to see if we can replace that. And that it's going to run about $50 to replace that glass. And so I'm trying my best to get the most exact one like that, and to make that right. How can I make that right? And he said, oh, no, don't worry about it. So I didn't have to make it right. I mean, I didn't have to do anything. Oh, let's forget about it. But no, that I wouldn't feel good about that. So that would be integrity, or saying I'm sorry, and I saw that meant a lot to you. It's a gift from someone, and it meant a lot to you, and I want to make it right. How can I make it right? So we don't just say I'm sorry. We say, how can I make that right, or make up for it, and how can I prevent it from occurring again? Make sure that the glass does not set too close to the edge of the counter, or get bumped by something. It was a fragile glass, and I actually bumped it with a water pitcher, and so I just broke off part of the rim. It's very thin glass. So now I'll know to keep things away from that heavy water pitcher. So how can I prevent myself from doing it again? In network marketing, if we make a selfish choice, we might go back to the person and say, I apologize for this. This is how I would like to do it differently in the future. In my interactions with you, will you accept my apology or keep doing business with me? So, you can include how you're going to do it differently in the future. So Fred says, honesty is do what I say and say what I mean. Kind of like what David wrote too before you came on. So you guys agree. Y'all are agreeing on here. And the other one about doing what I believe is right. So trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. Wouldn't it be better to prevent a breach of trust rather than trying to, if you can at all, I broke that glass, honest mistake, but breaking trust, often we know deep inside that's not something good to do, but we think maybe we can get away with it, or it's too tempting in the moment, or it seems like there's some immediate gratification gotten from it. But it can take forever to repair or rebuild. So let us be aware of that and take the easier way, which is to prevent that breach of trust in the first place. Let's see what else I have to share with you today. Yes, don't do anything, another quote from a business friend, don't do anything you wouldn't want printed in the newspaper. Because somehow the word gets out. At network marketing conventions, treat each other ethically. Eric Warrior says, don't sleep around at conventions. Somehow people think they can get away with that, but it just hurts everybody. So the law of solid ground, to wrap this up and to apply this, assess how trustworthy you are by looking at your followers, your team. How open are they with you? And then look at your upline, your leaders. How much responsibility do they entrust to you? Those are two ways you can measure your trustworthiness. And then work to build your character with integrity and honesty, even when it hurts. And be authentic. Be yourself with all. And do the right things despite if you feel tired at that moment or mad. Think before you act. How is this going to affect my integrity, my reputation, my trustworthiness? And apologize to all those you hurt or betrayed, and slowly work to re-earn their trust. Did this help today? Did you get a takeaway? Hope so. And David Roeder says, make amends by apologizing. If you run into and break someone's fence, an apology won't fix it. I know. There's a story. Thank you, David. That's great. Yeah, if you break someone's fence or glass or something like that. And there's a story about a little boy who used bad language, I guess 4-letter words. And his father said every time, or he was angry, I think he just had these outbursts of anger, and that were damaging to people. And his father said, every time you do that, go into the backyard and pound a nail in the fence. So the little boy did that every time he had an anger outburst. Not just expressing anger, but, hurting people, criticizing, yelling at people. So his father said, go put a nail in the fence. So he put a nail in the fence. Pretty soon the fence was full of nails. And the father said, now go pull them all out. The little boy would say, I'm sorry, but he'd do it again, right? So the father said, well, go pull all the nails out. And that's like, removing what you did in the past. But the little boy saw that the hole was still there. And so we saw that it's saying sorry is not just enough. But eventually eventually the little boy, I think from pounding all the nails, eventually he did cut that habit and stop that habit. Then his father said, now pull the nails out. And he was showing them that there's still repercussions. There's still a hole left in people when we are angry with them. And we excuse ourselves. We think, oh, that was nothing. That shouldn't bother that person. But it did. And, just saying sorry or giving flowers or something like that does not help as much as saying, this is how I plan to work on myself and change this trait in me so that I will not do this to you again. That means a lot. That begins to help the whole. Hey, James O'Connell, how are you? Another member of our school, the MLM Millionaire Academy. I wonder how you're doing. Actually, I was just thinking of you. So glad to see you. Thank you for popping on. And Uchina, glad to see you. Thank you for joining in, everybody. So that is the law for today, the law number 6 of John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership that Jeffrey David Gamble and I cover every Monday through Friday here on Facebook Live at noon Eastern Time. And usually we present them together. For the last year and a half, Facebook has changed the policy and does not allow dual lives anymore. So we're alternating until we can bring in a new program when I return from traveling, which I think is going to be Zoom, but requires a computer to do that. So I need to get back to my home computer. And so hopefully this week we can start doing dual lives again. That'll be fun because I miss Jeff on the lives. We're a good team. So tomorrow he will be presenting the John Maxwell's Leadership Law number 7, the law of respect. Doesn't that seem like it overlaps this a little bit? It's a perfect segue for this. So come back and enjoy Jeff tomorrow. And we will see you guys every weekday, noon Eastern Time, where you can grow for lunch and get food for thought. So we're glad that you're with us. Thanks for sharing. Tag a friend if they would like to know about these shows. We'd love to have them. If you know a Facebook group that you could share this with, and they could be watching as well. Appreciate that. A network marketing group or personal growth. Thank you each for being here. Have a good day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.